Now, you guys know I have been raving about Shang-Chi. I have now seen it twice. I believe it is a top 5 Marvel movie ever. I believe it is a top 5 MCU film of all time. It might be a top 5 comic book movie of all time. Like, it doesn't crack the top 3 for me. You know, I got Avengers, Dark Knight, Logan. Those, in whatever order you want, those are my 3 in the top as the best comic book movies of all time. I don't think Shang-Chi cracks that, but it just may crack the top 5 for me. It just may crack the top 5 all time for me personally. That's it. I can only talk to you about my experience. I don't know what your experience is going to be like. I can just say for me personally. And you guys know I've been raving about it a lot. As of right now, the review embargo has lifted this morning at 9 a.m. So about an hour ago, the review embargo lifted. There are currently 53 reviews have been submitted. And right now, Shang-Chi is holding a 94% on Rotten Tomatoes. And that is criminally too low. Criminally too low. 94. Get that junk out of here. It's all subjective. Okay, so 6% of them didn't like it. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. 94 is a perfectly good number. It's going to be interesting to see if that number goes up or down a little bit as more reviews start to pour in. And by the way, Karoom Potts sends in a super chat badge in live chat. Thank you for that, man. I appreciate that. So, and let me talk for a second a little bit here about my general thoughts now that the review embargo is lifted of Shang-Chi. This movie, as you probably heard from some of the reactions that we've had so far, is a beautiful mixture of classic MCU action, some great martial arts action, some beautiful like mythology, like background mythology. It's wonderful fantasy. Robert Meyer Burnett called it one of the best fantasy films of the last 25 years. Terrific action. Great story, great characters, great dynamics. You know, I knew right away I was going to like it because the beginning of the movie, and I'm not going to give any spoilers away here, but the beginning of the movie is absolutely beautiful. Like the movie starts off with kind of explaining Tony Leung's character, that's Shang-Chi's father, and, you know, his origins, having the rings, how he's come down through the centuries, how he's been alive for 1,000 years. And then in that first act of the film, we also get this beautiful telling of the story of how Shang-Chi's father met his mother. And it is one of the most beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous scenes I've seen in a movie in the last year or two. Like just as a scene, when Shang-Chi's father meets Shang-Chi's mother, Anne was almost crying. Like when Anne was watching that scene with him, she was almost crying and she was clapping her hands. It's beautiful. I'm not going to say anything about it or how it happens or what goes down, but it's absolutely stunningly beautiful. And it really does a good job of setting up where Shang-Chi comes from, because that becomes really important to understanding Shang-Chi as we move forward. I've talked a little bit about the dynamic, and we can talk a little bit more about it now. And no, I'm not giving away any spoilers, guys. I'm not giving away any spoilers. I'm telling you, hey, guess what? Shang-Chi has a mother and a father, and at some point, they meet. It's not a spoiler. Don't worry about it. That's not a spoiler. I'm not going to tell you what happens or how it goes about or anything like that. But understanding that really paves the way a lot in the later parts of the movie as we understand who Shang-Chi is and what his motivations are and all that kind of stuff. We talked briefly in the reactions about the dynamic between Aquafina and Simulu. Simulu, of course, being a good Canadian kid. Simulu, good Canadian kid. And by the way, Simu, if you're in Vegas for this screening of Shang-Chi, sign my wife's damn Simpsons Kim's Convenience shirt. You jerk. Anyway, Aquafina is somebody that I never really liked in movies per se. And then I saw her in The Farewell, and I'm like, damn, this girl's actually got real chops. And I loved her in Crazy Rich Asians as well. And her and Simu Liu, their chemistry is great. They have a terrific on-screen banter. I just believe that these guys have been friends for a long time. You know, because sometimes you watch these movies and the movies can be great, but you don't really believe that these two people would ever actually be friends in real life. I totally buy into their friendship. I totally buy into this relationship. It's terrific. They've got great banter. You can tell they've got a cadence with each other as if they've been friends for 10 years. It's totally wonderful. There are some big surprises in the movie as well. Like some really, really big surprises, and I cannot reveal any of them. I will say this, you've heard me say this in the reaction though. When you go to see Shang-Chi, I believe it's September 3rd, right? Yeah, it's the 3rd that it comes out officially, or Thursday night, September 2nd. When you guys go to see Shang-Chi, do not leave the theater when the credits start to roll. Okay? Do not leave the theater when the credits start to roll. There are 2 post-credit scenes, one about halfway through the credits and then one at the very, very end. And both are really good, but they both have big significance as to where, I'm not going to say anything more. They just have big significance for where the MCU is going to go after Shang-Chi. That's all I'm going to say. They have significant things in them that are going to hint towards the direction the MCU is heading. And it's great. Particularly the first post-credit scene. The first post-credit scene is, I'll tell you what, the first post-credit scene is a top 3 best post-credit scenes out of any MCU movie. It's amazing. It's great in and of itself, and it has a good amount of foreshadowing as to where it goes. And by the way, Caleb Ingram sends in a super chat badge in the live chat, as does Epic Dub Time. Thank you guys. Appreciate that. So yes, it's absolutely great. You get into the middle part. There are some people that think that there are some pacing issues in the second act. I disagree. And I think the reason they feel, and I'm only speculating here, but through reading some people's reactions, it seems like what they're saying is the reason they had some pacing issues with the second act is because the story starts to jump back and forth through time. But I'm telling you, it is, that technique in the movie is used so masterfully. I think it just added, like, yeah, listen, Shang-Chi is not nonstop action from start to finish. There's a lot of action in it. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of action in Shang-Chi. But it is not nonstop action from start to finish. And in the second act is probably where the least amount of action happens, but so much of the rich storytelling gets told in the second act, as far as I'm concerned. So I personally didn't have any issues with it. I just thought it was really good. Then you move into the third act. And the third act is where one of the big battles happens that they show a bunch of in the trailer, you know, in that Chinese looking village with the giant mythological creatures and stuff like that. It's in the trailer. You've seen bits of it. And that action sequence is nutty. It's a great combination of like the Raid kind of realistic kind of martial arts combined with the fantasy kind of martial arts that you would see in something like Hero or Crouching Tiger or something. It's a really good mixture, but all the action has narrative purpose. And the second time I saw the movie, as one of the big final action set pieces is happening, I literally had tears in my eyes. I'm not joking. This is not hyperbole. I wasn't sitting there sobbing like a baby. Oh my God, this is so wonderful. No, but I'm sitting there watching it and I'm realizing I've got tears welling in my eyes just because of the power of the action and how it was tied into the narrative and the imagery of it all. And oh God, I just loved it. Just loved it. And so, yes, all I can say is, guys, that I think the 94% it currently has on Rotten Tomatoes is tragically and criminally low. Listen, I don't know how much you guys will like it when you see it. I don't know, because you are different from me. So you may like it more than me. You may not like it as much as me. But I feel very, very confident in saying this. I believe you are going to like it. How much? I don't know. But I feel pretty damn confident in saying I am predicting you will like it. Not everybody will. All film is subjective. But I think most of you guys are really going to like it. I really do. And I think you're going to have a good time and enjoy it a lot. So, yeah. Anyway, guys, Shang-Chi, it's amazing. It's fantastic. Michelle Yeoh is great. Tony Leung is great. Aquafina is really good in it. Simu Liu is now one of the faces of the MCU. Simu Liu is now one of the faces of the MCU. So, Yeah, there's that. By the way, our friend Iconic Reaction sends in a super chat badge in the live Campea. In the live Campea. Why did I say that? In the live chat. That's what we're gonna call the live chat from now on. The live Campea. So there's that. Anyway, guys, what do you think about the reviews we see now coming out for Shang-Chi? Jump on down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.